down and worship the image I made. Very good. But if you do not worship it, immediately into a blazing fiery furnace, then what God will save you, rescue you from my hand. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. He says, if we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it. But this is where it gets really interesting. I want you to pay attention to the next verse. It says, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand, but even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. You want to talk about unshakable faith, because if you know anything about the story of Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, I mean, they literally stood in front of the king, rebelled against everything of the world or the time of the culture. They stood in front of the men of valor that had the very aspect of, I can kill you if you do that. So you have three men standing against the king and an entire kingdom over the fact of just bow down and worship a golden image. And when you think about how their faith was so unshakable, it's even if our king does not deliver us, we're going to worship him anyway. Even if he does not save us from your hand, I cannot jeopardize my faith for the things of this world. I cannot jeopardize my faith to worship anything else in this world except my God. So whether he saves me from the fiery furnace or not, I am still going to serve my God. Are you with me? So you got three men facing the entire kingdom. When you talk about unshakable faith, can I tell you, you're going through things right now in your life and you're having opportunities to begin to worship other things. But let me tell you something, whether God delivers you or not, I still want to serve the Father in heaven. Whether God answers that prayer or not, you got to understand a few things that we're going to talk about in a minute, but you have to know that God is for you. And if God is for you, who can be against you? Somewhere along the lines, I have to start forming a faith inside of me that begins to grow a trust inside of you. I'm a firm believer that faith and trust are work hand to hand. Because if you cannot trust God, how in the world can you have faith in God? Somewhere along the lines, you got to begin to trust that his word is true. You have to begin to trust that what was said in the word of God stands today and it cannot be shaken. When I begin to form the trust of who my God is inside of me, I begin to grow a faith of what he can do through me. As you begin to understand the things of the faith and the things about trusting God in your life, you understand a few more things about the direction of your life that you're going. Because no longer are you going to be shaken and tossed to and fro like a wave of the sea, but you're going to become grounded and rooted in the foundations of who Christ is in you. When you begin to grow that trust inside of you, you're saying, you know what? Even though that my God may not answer that prayer, I know that he's working that out for the good. I know that he's working out for the good. Something Susan Miles used to tell me. She says no is an answer. I hated that. I don't like no. And I certainly don't like no when I'm continuing to pray for something in my life. But can I tell you, God is working it out for the good. So let's take a look at the very first thing. The very first PowerPoint. The unshakable live by faith. And you know what? I think about how that I want to become unshakable in my faith. But you know what? Until I learn how to live unshakable in my faith, I'm going to continue to be shaken. Are you with me? So somewhere along the lines, the unshakable have to live by faith. That means I'm going to make a conscious decision to trust God. I'm going to make a conscious decision to walk in faith. I'm going to make a conscious decision that even in difficult times, I'm going to trust God with the matters, even though that sometimes life looks crazy, even though that sometimes the circumstance looks too big, even though that you are now been tossed into the fire with a sickness, even though that there are things that happen to you in your life, you think, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't understand what's happening right now. So many things run through your mind and you begin to break free from trust and you go back to distrust. But somewhere along the lines, you have to understand that whether God delivers you today or not, I'm still going to serve God. I'm still going to give him my time. I'm not going to give up my thought patterns to the things of King Nebuchadnezzar, but I'm going to actually give my thought patterns and everything that belongs to me to God. Because what was the first thing that was said? They do not look to King Nebuchadnezzar for anything, do they? You do not look towards the things of this world to satisfy the spirit. Somewhere along the lines, you got to start looking into the faith to understand what faith is. Because until you start